Today in the crypto space, we're seeing a nice green bounce to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 6%, Ethereum up approximately 4%, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are pretty mixed. However, there are some good gainers. Look at Chainlink, Stacks, Injective, VeChain, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market, but I want to focus on Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to continue to the upside, or is it likely that we're done and maybe going to look for a retracement very soon? So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description. And of course, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Obviously, today's video, we're going to focus on Bitcoin, but I do want to look at what the general market is looking like right now. Okay, so right now we can see that Bitcoin is leading the way. Obviously, pumping the price to the higher levels. Ethereum is following Bitcoin's lead, which is very nice. We're seeing a lot of interest into the crypto space in the last little bit, which is good. Trading volume is nice and up. We have the total market cap, running to the upside, and you can see that right here. We've got a nice spike, market-wide spike with regards to volume and price action and market cap. So this is looking really good for the crypto space in general, not just for Bitcoin. So Ethereum getting a nice pop to the upside, and we have BNB, still making those slightly lower lows, but still a nice little relief. Solana, pop to the upside as well. We have Ethereum staked ETH getting a bit of a pop. So that means that maybe Ethereum and Bitcoin as the heavyweights are, starting to wake up. And this is a good thing market wide. As you can see, market wide pop is very healthy. Cardano looking good. AVAX is okay, making a bit of a comeback, but still within that downward sloping type of price action. Big picture, not the worst case scenario after a pullback to see a bit of a pop to the upside, but ultimately we could see a bit of relief in the immediate short term with regards to the alts. The biggest issue here right now is that a lot of the alts are looking for a confirmation high, which means that are we going to make a higher high? If the alts do not make a higher high, and if Ethereum does not start breaking out, it's not looking good for alts. It's starting to look like people are looking to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is showing volatility. The the spot ETF is around the corner, perhaps, maybe not. I believe that there's a lot of psychology happening right into that narrative, and for me personally as a trader, I am ignoring the ETF narrative. That ETF narrative sounds toxic, and for me personally as a trader, again, I think it's a sell the news event. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Ultimately, I think that a lot of it is already priced in to the market. We're just seeing the last little bit of an impulsive move to the upside based on a lot of the retailers that are coming out right now and basically getting the news a bit late. And that's the reality. Because they're late, they become exit liquidity. So we'll talk about the Bitcoin price and the bullish expectation and perhaps even the bearish, expectations, because of course there's always two sides of the coin, guys, no pun intended, but we need to be really prepared either way, up or down. Okay, so this is what we'll talk about in a second, but you can see the general market looking good. Anything that is Bitcoin, even Ethereum related, is looking pretty decent. Look at the wrap Bitcoin. So I'm wondering how ordis are doing, the ordinal narrative, and Stacks is looking good, a nice pop to the upside based on the Bitcoin narrative. You guys know that I talk about the Bitcoin narrative quite a bit, and of course on the Discord today we had a bit of a conversation with regards to what I think, and I feel like sometimes it's hard to get things out there just in written form, but what I really do think is that Bitcoin's use case is very clearly defined, and I don't think it should be tampered with. If anything, it should be, maybe a side chain like Stacks is. It's not touching the original chain of Bitcoin. It's on it's a side chain, so essentially it runs parallel to the network, to the Bitcoin network, which means that it doesn't really affect it. And ultimately, that's a bullish thing. That's an okay thing to do, right? But then you talk about the ordinals, and the ordinals we saw the last time ordinals spiked, they didn't do very very well for the Bitcoin network, and then a lot of individuals were a bit salty about it. And, you know, for me personally, it's a manipulation of the Bitcoin network. That's how ordinals work. Right. So I know there's going to be people that love ordinals and have a difference of opinion. And of course, I'm no specialist, but that's what I've seen and that's what I've experienced and that's what I've heard. So ultimately, let me know in the comment section below what you believe about ordinals and what you think about ordinals. In fact, I was thinking about maybe inviting somebody to the channel that maybe knows a little bit more about the whole narrative that can, you know, provide some insight. But based on, you know, Bitcoin's design was not intended to be a smart contract platform. And clearly, as it can be seen, you know, there are software solutions that are trying to manipulate the original Bitcoin chain to create that scenario, such as ordinals, right? So this is where we're at right now. Ordinals didn't get that much of a bounce. It's up 7%, but you can see a lot of the altcoins that are doing well as well, much higher than even 7%. BitTensor getting a nice bounce to the upside, pretty good. I think overall, it should still, a lot of these altcoins should still be looking for that bottom. You know, still looking for that bottom is a healthy thing, ultimately allowing us to accumulate at the bottom. I think a lot of the daily momentum on a lot of these altcoins are still pushing to the lower levels. And for me, that would be an indication of a full reset of momentum on the daily time frame, giving me a great signal for a nice bullish buy up, you know, buy the dip scenarios. And of course, I do have a plan ahead where I'm going to be coming up with my buy the dip list, which means that what am I looking for when I'm looking for buying, right? I'm looking for those dips and I'm looking for healthy dips, and it won't be necessarily what I'm going to be buying, but what would be healthy to buy. And if it is on your shopping list, at least you can get some good indications that maybe you've hit a bottom. And that's what buying the dip is all about. Waiting for signals of a bottom and then DCAing and finding those good opportunities to buy low so that ultimately you can sell high. And you can see that a lot of the altcoins have retraced. Look at Phantom, and we have a lot of other good ones. What Beam is still looking good, sideways. Sui, sideways. Anything to do with Bitcoin is doing well. BitGet is getting a bounce, which is good. A little sideways action here. A little bit of a grind to the downside across the market. As you can see, no real indication of too much bullishness, but a nice little bounce nonetheless, a little bit of relief. And that's what we explained. That's what I talked about yesterday in yesterday's live stream. You know, speaking of that one, guys, if you want to join that live stream, it's at 7:30 Eastern tonight. And of course, if you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests, and I'll put them in top priority tonight at 7:30 Eastern. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin. What's going on here? Bitcoin got a nice bounce to the upside. In fact, it could be even considered a nice breakout. However, guys, I'm not very confident in what's happening here with Bitcoin for many reasons. Obviously, there's a lot of potential manipulation that could be happening at this level. It is an ideal level to basically hunt for that exit liquidity amongst the retail market. Guys, let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So if we just kind of zoom out and we get into a big picture scenario, you understand that ultimately Bitcoin has been doing very well. And in fact, despite the altcoins, some altcoins doing very well, given the fact that Bitcoin is a large cap project and it is the biggest crypto out there, okay, for those of you that are new, Bitcoin is a beast. The fact that it moved over 100%, let's see where it is. Let's get a nice number where we're at right now. It's up 200% from its bottom, okay? And we're talking about Bitcoin here. We're not talking about an altcoin. We're not talking about a mid cap, a low cap, anything like that. We're talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin ran up 200% from its bottom without a retracement, guys, just making higher highs and higher lows consistently. Okay, so that for me is a problematic thing. It seems to be very overextended. It is not doing very healthy price action where it's backtesting breakout zones for support and confirmations and all the things that are needed for strategies to get absolutely bullish. So for me, this is risky. This is a risky scenario to get into a fresh long at the current moment. Now, does it mean that it can't go up higher? No, it does not mean that. It just means the probability of getting wrecked here is a lot higher than if you were buying the dips at lower levels, right? So what I'm trying to say is that we could get some great price manipulation that takes the Bitcoin price to about, you know, even about 52K, which is very possible. The next level of potential resistance is at this volume gap, and it's possible, but I don't trust that price action. This is a very low volume move. Look at the daily. Very low volume move. It's still moving without much volume since this accumulation phase. All this move up until this zone, in my opinion, have been very quiet and slow and steady grind to the upside accumulation, which is an indication that potentially at this level we had a lot of individuals packing their bags fat. And we can imagine who those individuals are, right? This is the thing. This is why I don't really follow the ETF narrative, because the ETF narrative has been in play for a long time, all the way back here where the majority of us didn't even think about it, especially the retail market. We're not even thinking about price manipulation. Well, the reality is the plan was executed right here. And this is where they might be hunting for exit liquidity for a last little hurrah, a last little, retracement down to about maybe 30,000, right around this level, and at worst case about 25K. If that were to be the case, I think that's where the smart money, the people that got in here, will be hunting for that liquidity to buy up on the cheap and giving them a second opportunity to accumulate even further without causing too much fear, uncertainty, and doubt in Bitcoin and crypto in general. So this would be an ideal place psychologically for these whales, for these heavyweights that bought down here, to reaccumulate without creating FUD. Okay, that's basically what I'm saying here. Now, ultimately, we're up 200%. We are at horizontal, potential good horizontal resistance. Using Fibonacci theory, we can use a swing high. Let's see what kind of fib levels we're hitting right now. Swing high to swing low. And you can see that we're hitting almost that golden pocket 618 right here at about 50K. That's where we start hitting the golden pocket. So for me, obviously a no trade zone for many confluent zones is right in this area. I stopped trading Bitcoin right around this area. And the reason being is that we were already moving up with very low volume already, and the lack of conviction meant that we were grinding very slowly. Okay, and that's when I started shifting in my interest into altcoins, and thankfully I did, because altcoins have been outperforming Bitcoin since then, and especially if you got into the right ones. I'm not saying all altcoins. So that's one thing about the Bitcoin dominance that doesn't do it justice, is the Bitcoin dominance couples in all the altcoins, including stable coins, and it doesn't really isolate the good gainers, especially the hot ones that we've been talking about here on the channel. If you've been following the channel, you'll notice that the altcoins that we've been scaling into have been outperforming Bitcoin significantly. So the Bitcoin dominance honestly doesn't even do it justice from that perspective. So what we should be doing now, in my opinion, I don't trade the ETF. I don't really care about that news. I'm just keeping my mind steady and focusing on the charts and focusing on opportunities that present themselves, not the news. The news right now, in my opinion, is going to be highly manipulated. So at this level, what am I doing? No Bitcoin for me. I'm waiting for lower levels, and I really don't even think, even if I see Bitcoin coming down to about 34, even 25, will I be buying Bitcoin. At this level, my bags were packed down here, and if you've been following the channel, you know that I've been accumulating and, basically saying buy the dip right around this level. And then all of a sudden, upon a retracement, I know that would be a confirmation on the altcoins. That would be a confirmation low on altcoins, where we can hopefully see some of these altcoins make a higher low with some nice follow-through divergence that could have played out already, would give me that indication that altcoins are ready to move. And ultimately, I know we've seen some altcoins already move. I don't think they have moved just yet. They didn't catch up to Bitcoin's price action. Bitcoin is already all the way up here, almost close enough to the all-time highs. Close enough. Look at that. We're already at the golden pocket, where some of these altcoins are still down here. So that means that reality, they didn't get their opportunity that they deserved. They didn't get their altcoin season. So what we're trying to wait for is to see Bitcoin kind of go sideways from a big picture perspective, again, back onto the daily, and kind of look at a distribution phase into this area. We could come up a little bit more. As you know, distribution phases are a little bit bigger, and they do take their time, especially they should be looked at on higher time frames. And ultimately, they'll take their time to roll over. And in the meantime, as it is happening, the distribution people are taking profits and looking for volatility, perhaps looking for altcoins. And I would love to see the altcoin market flourish and finally get their run to the upside, because we've been very patient in looking for opportunities to buy dips at lower levels. I have an agenda for tonight. Tonight's agenda for the live stream is to look at the Bitcoin dominance. We'll revisit Bitcoin. We'll look at Ethereum. And ultimately, we're going to be hunting for the buy the dip list. We're going to be looking for buy the dip opportunities to be prepared for when we do get another impulsive move to the downside, which is possibly very likely based on the 4-hour time frame, that we have a list ready to go to buy the dips. Let's take a look at the 4-hour before we wrap this up. The 4-hour is looking decent. Let's look at momentum, because I kind of hit that at the moment, and let's stretch this all out, because ultimately the 4-hour, if we look at it, you can see that it's grinding very slowly, and you can see that the momentum after every every little impulse is getting overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. Do we get oversold and come right back to range lows once again to touch this level? You know what? It could be. It could be that this is the level for exit liquidity. I want you to look at this volume. The volume is not even that strong. Okay, it's not even that strong. We did get a volume spike, but it's not even that big. Remember, I zoomed in here on the 4-hour chart. In fact, the sell pressure had a lot more volume into the previous move that we've seen here. The sell-off right here was a lot stronger, a lot more market participation and conviction into the sell-off news, right into the sell-off scenario right here. So ultimately, it is still a divergence. You can see higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the RSI. We're getting it on big time frames, low time frames on the 4-hour. Look at this double top. If we close this way, where this momentum on the RSI is lower than the previous spike of momentum, guys, that's class A bearish divergence on these two tops, class A bearish divergence on all these tops, and class A bearish divergence on all of this price action stemming from the legacy line, trend line all the way down here. Tons of divergence everywhere on all time frames. So for me, I am not really interested in trading Bitcoin at the current moment. So the 4-hour ultimately is very overbought at the current moment. The MACD is making that lower high as well. Momentum wise, not really interested. You can see this lower high giving us a confirmation of a potential bearish divergence around the corner. Guys, there's no real scenario just yet. It could push up a little bit more. As you can see, the EMAs are still facing up, and we do have those green histogram bars that are still showing a bit of strength here. But ultimately, guys, I think the move is almost done. I would be very careful getting into fresh longs currently here on the Bitcoin price. In fact, I would be looking for other opportunities. Let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly, again, look at this nice little fake out. I want to just show you the MACD, how that looked. Okay, we got some pale green histogram bars like we have done in the past, and then all of a sudden a quick spike to the upside. EMA stayed open, and it's likely that to continue to the upside. So this is what I'm saying here on the weekly. We're very overbought. Let's wait for confirmations of more bearish divergence. We are already getting a bit of it. Higher highs on this price action, and we're talking about on the weekly. And look at the momentum on the RSI. If we do not make a higher high here on the RSI, it's not looking good. The weekly showing also bearish divergence, class A bearish divergence. So ultimately, we could get that rollover on the weekly as well, as long as we maintain this bearish divergence stand. And look, we have that golden pocket right here holding the price down. If we get there, you know that a lot of people use the golden pocket as a trading strategy, or within their trading strategy, to find confluence. There's a lot of horizontal resistance right here. There's the golden pocket that is being approached very, very soon. And ultimately, again, Bitcoin is way, way overextended, and it is at a prime level to be highly manipulated. Guys, if you want to discuss this any further, join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.